Hi and welcome back to our channel. We're a couple who love to travel, and in the last 9 months we've been to 5 different countries in Europe and beyond. Our aim in this video is to share some of our tips and tricks on how you can make your next holiday cheaper. This video is aimed more towards those who don't travel too often and maybe struggle to find good deals online. However, even if you're a frequent traveller, it's still worth sticking around to the end. You never know what you might learn. So let's get started. The first thing you need to establish is when you want to travel. In general, the best time to book flights is between 4 months and 3 weeks prior to the date you want to leave on. The time of year you decide to book your holiday can have a great impact on the cost overall. For example, a general rule is that travelling between September and the end of May is much cheaper than travelling in the summer months of June, July and August. Especially in Europe, as the temperatures start to rise, the prices also begin to soar. Other places like Barbados, for example, have excellent weather in December and January, and you can often find a good deal on flights to places like this to get a taste of summer sunshine right before Christmas. We went here in December 2022. Winter can be a great opportunity to travel in Europe if you don't mind the cold temperatures, as flight prices plummet. For example, we just flew from Dublin to Nuremberg for under £80 return for 2 people. Another factor to consider is the days you fly on. In my experience, it's cheaper to fly on weekdays. You generally find that flights over the weekend are a little bit more expensive, so that's Friday, Saturday and Sunday. However, this isn't an exact science, and it's still possible to find some reasonable fares on a weekend flight depending on the location. The second step on your journey to booking a cheaper holiday is deciding where exactly you want to go. This may sound silly, but so many times I've wanted to jet off to somewhere new, but I've just had no idea where I want to go. So when I'm all out of inspiration, I head over to skyscanner.com. This website is great because not only does it give you access to the cheapest flights, but it also has an option there called Search Everywhere. Now, what this option does when selected is it shows you all of the cheapest flights to every destination available from your chosen departure airport. This feature is great for helping to decide where to travel, as it gives you so much choice and also shows you the best price available for the flights on your chosen departure dates. One thing to always check before finalising your booking is the baggage allowance, as for some prices shown, this only includes a small carry-on bag. If you need extra luggage, this can be added on at the end, but will incur an extra charge. So now that you've found the best value flights for your destination, you need to begin to check out the accommodation that's available in your area. There are several factors in booking good value accommodation. First of all, you need to set a budget for what you're willing to pay per night for the duration of your stay. Once you've established this, the next stage is to establish what exact area you want to stay in. For example, when I go to cities, I always like to book accommodation in the sweet spot. The sweet spot is what I call the area that's within walking distance to the majority of things I want to see and do, which helps cut down on transport costs like taxis, trains, etc. But also must have at least one form of public transport back to the airport. Now, this sounds good in theory, but may not always be practical to implement. I still try to go by this rule though, as it's guaranteed to save you money. For example, on our recent trip in Nuremberg, I booked a hotel that was right beside the central train station, as there was a tube directly from the airport to here, so we literally walked out of the station and were right at our hotel. The second reason was because it was only a 10-minute walk from the main attractions we wanted to see there. It was a perfect scenario, and we saved €36 by taking the tube there and back rather than a taxi. We also got a great deal through booking.com on our accommodation, as we travelled midweek. We paid £140 for 2 people for 2 nights. This was a bargain. Having considered these things, you should now have an idea of the area you want to stay in and can begin to look on comparison websites such as booking.com and Airbnb to find the best hotel or rental for your stay. Both of these sites have a map function, so you can easily see on a map and select a property that falls within the area we've previously talked about. This saves hours of scrolling through listings. Consider the things that are important to you, like does it have a gym? Is it pet friendly? Does it offer late check-in or check-out? Is there parking? My top tip is always read the reviews, as pictures can be deceiving, and I've saw so many properties that look amazing in photos but the reviews tell a different story. The more stays you complete also on websites like booking.com, the more rewards you unlock. For example, recently I unlocked 10% off all participating properties, and sometimes you can even get money back on your last stay in the form of travel credits. The fourth point you need to consider before jetting off into the sun is transport costs. Before you leave, you need to figure out how you're getting from the airport to your accommodation. Will you rent a car, and if so, how much will it cost? Some countries charge considerably more if you're under 30 years of age due to insurance policies. Is there parking available at your accommodation? Is it free and secure? All of these are things that you need to consider. Is there Uber or another taxi service available, or will you have to carry cash and take a taxi the traditional way? We discovered in the last 2 trips we took that there were no online taxi services available, so we had to look up public transport options ahead of arrival. Check, is there an official airport shuttle bus or train from the airport to somewhere close by your accommodation? The routes are normally displayed on their website. Finally, in many European cities they have an all-inclusive city card. For example, in Nuremberg they have the Nuremberg card, which gives you free access to public transport and many museums and tourist attractions within a certain area. This can be purchased for around €33 and often works out as a great deal depending on the length of your stay and how much you want to see and do. It also saves buying tickets constantly, as the one card covers everything. The final thing to consider before going on your next trip is the food and dining costs. If you're going on a long trip or holiday, the food and dining can often be one of the largest costs. So before going, it's best to have a look online at local restaurants to get an idea of what the cost of the average meal will be per day when you're there. If you feel that it will be too expensive to eat out all the time, it may be better to consider an Airbnb apartment, especially for long vacations. The reason I love Airbnb is that it gives you flexibility to cook your own food, wash your own clothes, and much more depending on the property that you choose. What we usually do is have 2 meals per day cooked at home in the Airbnb, and the third meal, either lunch or dinner, we head out to a local restaurant, so we still get to experience the local cuisine without having to overspend. On booking.com there are also options for all-inclusive or half-board. However, they often still work out quite expensive, and oftentimes the restaurants don't have great options or variety. So I hope that in some way this video can help make your next trip more cost effective and a little bit more organised. Thank you for sticking with us to the end, and if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see more travel content like this, don't forget to subscribe. We really appreciate it, and it helps us get our content out for more people to enjoy. Drop a comment if you have any other helpful tips you want to add, but that's all from me for this video. Catch you all next time.